and thank you for joining us today. Um, my name is Tiana Lyons King, and I am CAM's Community Engagement Manager. Excuse me. Thank you again for joining us today as we begin the second series of four, our second session of four for Fundraising is for Everyone. As we begin today's event, we'd like to acknowledge and honor the original inhabitants of our various regions. California is home to over 150 tribes, and an acknowledgement is just one step towards working with Native communities to build meaningful relationships. Museums and many institutions were founded upon purposeful exclusions and erasures of Indigenous peoples and still benefit from settler colonialism and associated harms. CAM is committed to moving beyond a land acknowledgement and into action. We encourage you to learn more about the tribes in your area and find ways to celebrate and support them. I live in San Diego, California, which is a traditional territory of the Kumeyaay people. I will be popping a link in the chat, nativeland.ca, to help you learn more about the tribes in your area. Just a reminder that it's a helpful but not definitive resource for you. And excuse me. And before we move into today's session officially, I'd like to go over some housekeeping with you all. This workshop is being recorded and will be posted to our YouTube once it is edited down. Registrants, you all will receive a link via email once it is uploaded to that YouTube page. Our workshops are a space for learning and collaboration. We ask that you respect yourself and others while you're here with us today. The chat box will be open throughout the entire session. You're welcome to interact with the group there. You can ask any questions you have to our instructor, Jill, today. If you'd like to ask a question in an anonymous way, you are welcome to send me a direct link and our direct message, and I'm happy to ask the question on your behalf. Live captioning is available for a good portion of today's session, and I will link that in the chat in case you need that as well. And if you're having any technical difficulties, you are welcome to send me a chat in the chat box, or you can email me at engagement@calmuseums.org. I will also pop my email in the chat for your convenience. And with that, I don't want to take up too much time at the beginning. We have Jill Kunishima, who is our instructor for today's second session. Jill, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see some familiar faces from last week's session, and it's nice to see some new names as well. So today's session is about looking inward, and I have to say that this session is probably the one that I look forward to the most, and I also feel like it's something that's neglected a lot when it comes to fundraising. I'm going to dive in with a question that you are welcome to answer in the chat. And actually, there's two questions. So one of them is one we mentioned last week, but some of you are new, so I'm going to say it again, which is around your comfort level with fundraising. And the second question is, what is your comfort level with money? 10 means you're super comfortable. 0 means I am so uncomfortable. Even right now, this is so uncomfortable. And you can just do a number, comma, and another number. And you can put in the chat if you'd like. Anyone else? Thank you. So another question, and I hope this is one that someone would be willing to share, maybe one or two of you. And the question is, why? Why did you put these numbers down? I can share that I didn't grow up really talking about money, but I did know that money was a sore spot, and that there was often not enough about it. Well, as I was like developing this presentation, I came across a survey, and it actually said that personal finances was amongst the most difficult topics for Americans to talk about. And other things on that list was like death, which I was like, wow, people really feel a lot of things when we talk about money. Actually, can we go to our slide? Is our slideshow still going? Oh, there it is. So I think our comfort levels say a lot about how we fundraise. And I know that as I entered this field, I was really uncomfortable and I had to do a lot of inner work about this, partially because I didn't know how to deal with it, but I was also like very self-conscious about like, I'm going to be in spaces with people who have like a lot of money and I don't have money. So how am I supposed to get out there and do this thing? And I think that's not that uncommon for many of us. But nevertheless, I want to acknowledge and affirm that yes, this is a hard topic for many of us for all kinds of reasons. We can go to the next slide. Some of these slides are just to make you laugh too, because I don't want you to think about something as terrible as like on the spectrum of like talking about death and like money. Um, so one of the things that I came to realize was people are give to organizations not just because of the cause, which ultimately we hope they're giving because of the cause, but it's also because of the people that they are connecting with at these organizations are carrying a level of confidence that is authentic. Now, I have to say that this feels very strange because it sometimes means you're just faking it. And I know that I faked it for a while. Like, how am I supposed to be authentic when I'm talking about something that makes me feel so uncomfortable? But nevertheless, confidence does carry on to someone who might be interested in giving to your cause. And now that I've raised a lot of money, I can say very honestly that it's not just about confidence and knowing what I'm saying is right and good, but it's also about stepping into my own truth. I will say that again. My success in fundraising is not just because I know the right things to say about my organization, it's also because I am stepping into my truth. And part of it is I only work with organizations that I care about, causes that I believe in. And I hope that everyone here is working for a cause that they believe in, because that does go a long way. But making sure that I have my right head on and the right values for something makes a big difference for fundraising. Next slide, please. So the first thing I want to talk about today is one of a couple tools that we're going to use to help us think about our own values. And the first tool is a personal mission statement. Has anyone written a personal mission statement before? You can just raise your hand. See a couple of you. I'm sure everyone knows what a mission statement is because you work for a museum. But a personal mission statement, just like it sounds like, is a written declaration of your unique direction or purpose. It's a statement that makes it clear not just what you intend to do, but how you intend to do it as well. A personal mission statement makes clear what one wants to do, which can really provide clarity in how we live our lives. Now, there's a couple ways to think about this. It's a big question. We can go to the next slide. That's my burning doggy who's saying it's fine. And we can go past Kermit. I was having fun with it. Actually, go back one. Sorry. Okay. Yes, that's a tombstone. So there's a couple ways to think about this. And one of the ways I started doing this work was thinking about looking backwards. So it's the end of my life. My funeral is happening. What does my eulogy say? What are people saying about me? It's a little morbid, but hopefully one day when you have passed, people are saying nice things about you and the way you lived your life. So that's one way to think about how you might get into this mode of a personal mission statement. I'm going to ask you to go to the next slide. That's just a bunch of bullets that says a personal mission statement on it. Yeah, that one. So let's take a moment to read these bullets. I'm not going to read them all aloud. And once you're done reading, just raise your hand with the little thingamajig on the Zoom. We're almost there. Okay, so since most of you have not done this before, I'm actually going to make us do this on the spot. I know this is hard to do on the spot, but I think if I just assign it to you, it won't happen. So I'm gonna ask everyone to take a few moments now and take pencil to paper and think about a personal mission statement. Can we go to the next slide? So this is kind of like a formula for writing a mission statement in the simplest way possible. No doubt you've seen a million mission statements because of what you do for work, but you can use something like this, or you can do something that's totally different and something that feels comfortable to you. But I do feel like something like this, it can be a good place to start. An example using the same kind of formula would be to create content for internet users to help them increase their well-being more easily and effectively. That is my mission statement. I'll say it one more time. To create content for internet users to help them increase their well-being more easily and effectively. That's one that someone shared with me. I was like, oh, that is nice, succinct, and to the point. So go ahead, take a few moments and try to write a personal mission. So yeah, like I said, I hope this is like a starting point for you. You know, there's nothing that says your mission statement can't change. It's your mission statement. But I know the first time I did this for myself, I literally like had it printed like right next to my workspace so I could always look to it and remember my own North Star in this work. And some people I know, it's something that they just do like every year, you know, like almost like a New Year's resolution. They go back to their mission statement to see like, does this still make sense for me? And if not, you change it, right? Just make it a part of your practice, so that you can also live to your values. So thank you for going through that exercise. This is also something that if you are leading a team, or even if you're not, like if you work in an organization with other people, it can be a good thing to bring into your workplaces too. I think the more mission aligned we are as people, the better off we all are. So, okay, that's tool number one, the personal mission statement. Tool number two, and I'm just calling this strengths work. And this part of my presentation comes from my own personal conviction that everyone has their own strengths. We all have our own strengths. Sometimes we don't know our own strengths. Sometimes we can't see our own strengths. But nevertheless, I really believe that everyone has their own strengths. There's a lot of tools that exist now on how to figure out your own strengths. Has anyone ever done like a Myers-Briggs? Have anyone ever done something like Strengths Finders? There's like a lot of tools out there now that can help you figure out what your strengths are. And yeah, it kind of goes on forever. But I think the reason why I really want to bring up strengths after we talk about mission is because at the end of the day, like this is like a real tenet of my belief system, is that we need to ask ourselves and understand, does our personal mission align with our organizational mission? And are the strengths needed in the organization also the strengths that you have? Being confident in your fundraising abilities means you can answer these questions. If you have a skill set that doesn't quite match what your organization is doing, you might not be seen as such an asset to the organization, if that makes sense. It doesn't mean this is always going to be a perfect match either, right? Like, we are usually not in a perfect job, but in an ideal situation, our personal missions match with the organizational mission, and the strengths that the organization needs are strengths that we have. Does that make sense? When I have felt the most in my flow and the most able to make change is when these things were in alignment. I will say that you don't always know at the beginning, right? It's hard to know these things. But as you get into the work, these are two questions that I would like keep in your head regularly and revisit, because also things change. We know that. But yes, once again, does your personal mission statement mesh with the organizational mission? And do your strengths also mesh with the organizational need? There's kind of a follow-up question here too around culture of organization. One of my favorite phrases is culture eats strategy for breakfast. Because I think so many of us are like, oh, we got to do like the strategic plan. We got to do a business plan. And then what happens? It like sits there on like a shelf, right? As if this strategic plan is going to like save us all. It does not often save us all, because how an organization does things is also something that needs to be in alignment. I'll use the example of a friend of mine who was a total doer. The way she described herself, she's like, I'm a fiery Leo. She's like, I just want to get in the trenches and get stuff done. And then she took a job with this policy organization, which was doing really good work in a very different way than the way my friend was. Her ability to make things move in that organization did not happen because the pace and just their way of like having a million meetings, for example, a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of deliberation did not mesh with her skill set. They were all talented and good at what they did, but their organizational culture did not mesh with my friend. So that's, I think, kind of a follow-up to all this. How does the organization go about their day-to-day? And does that also fit with who you are? I will also say that nonprofits inherently, they just ask a lot of us, but you cannot do everything. Like you cannot check off every box. It is impossible. So use some of these questions to really think through, like, where is the alignment? How do I fit into this? Can I actually get things done here? Because it kind of doesn't matter how amazing you are, and I'm sure you're all amazing, if some of these alignments don't mash up. So keep on going back to that.
Yes, hope you guys have a great day.